A normal football game sees over 130 tackles. Some hits carry as much as 1,600 pounds of force. Despite the heavy equipment worn to protect the players, their heads are often left vulnerable to concussions. Even President Obama has said that if he had a son, he wouldn't allow him to play the sport. Scientists and coaches here at Concordia have recognized this problem and are working with players to make the game safer. Their main focus? How to avoid head injury when tackling. Richard Demont is a professor at Concordia and is on the board of directors with the Canadian Athletic Therapists Association.
What happens in a concussion is that the brain inside your head, it's surrounded by cerebrospinal fluid, and as your head moves, your brain moves within it. So if your head moves and then stops suddenly or is very stationary and then moves suddenly, the brain inside your skull, there's a bit of a delay as it moves to catch up with the rest of your skull. And so what happens is your brain is moving around inside your skull and basically bounces off the interior portion of your skull and gets damaged because of that.
Concordia Stingers players on both sides of the ball are implementing these techniques. Andrew and Daniel play for the Stingers. During practice, the team emphasizes form tackling and protecting the upper body and neck when blocking.
So you do see some guys try to make these knockout hits where it's literally they just hit and then they stop moving their feet. But a proper form tackle, you're driving through with your legs. So you're really aiming for the numbers of the chest and essentially the arm on the ball. And then you're driving through with your hips as opposed to just hitting with your shoulder and then stopping. So as you're coming through a guy, face up and then towards the ball and then through with the hips as you drive through. And that's really going to protect not only the crown of your skull, but also your neck as a defensive player.
Thanks to these innovative coaching techniques, the game now is much safer than it was in previous decades.
Yeah, so when playing football, our coaches always tell us to keep the ball high and tight. You'll see in a lot of old school NFL videos and things like that, a ball carrier will run and lunge headfirst into a guy's chest or even his helmet to try and create separation. They often plant their feet and use a lot of force with their neck and everything, which is extremely bad. A lot of players have gotten season-ending injuries that way. What we're taught now is to carry the ball high and tight, run through shoulder contact through the chest or through the defender's shoulder to split him in half to create less power for them to tackle you, and always drive your feet to get through the opponent.
Despite the progress, those involved in the game say there's no quick fix in making football safer.
I can also be in a 2-point.
The education portion of it would be fantastic. That's in my profession of athletic therapy. That's what we try to do. We try to be there on sidelines and do workshops and things like that to improve the knowledge for coaches and for athletes and parents so that they know that there is a risk. I think I struggle to find a way. I'm not an inventor, but I struggle to find a way where there's going to be a helmet that prevents concussion. I think the earlier strategies that should be done are to reduce the impacts.
Andrew Jr. would definitely be playing football because I believe that there's so many life lessons that can come out of football, and with the increase in rule changes to protect players, I do believe by the time there is a son of my own, that there will be even more rule changes to protect players, and people, coaches and players will both be more cognizant of ways to protect themselves. Obviously, you hear coaches at the next level, whether the NCAA, the NFL, CFL, NHL, talking about multi-sport athletes. I would love to get my kids into a multitude of sports, not just football, but I would not shy away from getting my kids into football, that's for sure.
Okay, what about you, Daniel? Would you have your son play football?
Yeah, Andrew makes a lot of good points. Unfortunately, while rules have changed, it only takes one play, one mistake, one player not to follow the rules to change someone's life and to have a serious injury.
University football fans will get to see these new tackling and safety techniques this fall as Concordia starts their season against McGill on September the 2nd. For Concordia News, I'm Salim Valji.